Welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell from the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Glad you've joined us today. Before we get started, I want to thank TV47, Chris, and everyone who helps us put on our program. We appreciate it very much. Today, Tara Douglas is joining me. Tara Spears Douglas. I have to say that because most people know your parents, Ted and Shirley Spears. I'm so glad you're here. I know you are very busy at Broadway Spinal Care, you and your husband, but y'all are so active in our community, and we appreciate.
Well, we're glad to be here. We enjoy being in this community.
Great, great. Well, you have made a big difference. And one of the areas you've made a difference is in the Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill and the Friends of the Sylacauga Animal Shelter. So I know you do a lot of work with those.
I do, yeah. I joined the executive board of Feral Dogs a couple of years ago, but Feral Dogs itself as an organization has been around since 2017.
Okay.
Carolyn Morse, who was one of our founding members, the reason we have the name Feral Dogs, I'll have people ask me that periodically, is she used to drive through the Avondale Mill neighborhoods quite frequently, and she noticed that there's a big problem with dogs, with feral and stray dogs, and so she started doing something about it. She started catching those dogs, finding fosters, finding rescues, and most of the rescues that we worked with then were up north, and she got about 200 dogs out of Avondale Mill Village, and then decided, okay, we need to start a nonprofit. And so she joined forces with Terry Brooks and Mitzi Martin and Sonia Chandler, and they formed the 501c3. So that's why our name is Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill and Friends of the Sylacauga Animal Shelter. So we've got a long name, but people will ask many questions to me because, you know, with Feral Dogs being our name, we work with dogs and cats, and so we do a lot to work with the community to help with dogs and cats, and we're there to help support the animal shelter also. So I also have people ask me about, are we the same as the animal shelter? Are we part of it? And we're not. The animal shelter is a city organization, but you know, we're there to help the animal shelter as much as we can. But our main thing is to try to keep dogs and cats from needing to even be in the animal shelter. So we are really working toward the spay and neuter campaign in this area, and I would say that that is our major thing that we do right now, because we want to get it to where we're not constantly getting calls every day about puppies or dogs that are homeless or strays or feral dogs, and that we can really get the community to where there's backing with that and we can get the spay and neuter campaign going.
Well, tell us how that works, the spay and neuter campaign, the vouchers.
So we've got the vouchers that are for sale at Mutt Cut, so we really appreciate Missy and Jeff Turner and everything they do for the dogs and cats in this community. But they're at 210 Calhoun Avenue at Mutt Cuts all year long. So these are the new prices that we have up right now, and that's for, you know, you can get vouchers for dogs or cats, males or females, so you can see up there what the price is, and it's a significant savings for people.
Yes.
But we're so fortunate right now in that the county commissioners have seen a need for this, and our city has seen a need for this. So we've gotten support. So we've got money from the city and the county to help us have lower cost spay and neuter voucher sales periodically. So we can take those vouchers and sell them for $30. You know, we use that money, either money through donations or money through the county and the city to help supplement that cost, because they're still charging us as an organization those prices that were up on the screen. But you know, we're able to bring it down to $30, and because of the support that we've had, we don't have the sale just once a year. Now we're able to have it quarterly. So we just had one in December, and we hope to have another one in this first quarter of 2025 also. And that's, you know, we've sold, since Feral Dogs started selling the vouchers, there were about maybe 6,600 or so vouchers that have been sold in this area.
Oh my goodness.
And so that's, you know, that's a tremendous amount, but we are still in a situation where we need people to spay and neuter, because we've got those vouchers available, and it's such an amazing service there. Now the vouchers are for Alabama Spay and Neuter in Irondale. I get a lot of calls and a lot of questions about that too. You can't use them at local vets. Alabama Spay and Neuter is an organization that's there to help reduce the number of dogs and cats on the streets in Alabama. And so you do have to get them at Irondale. We have transport that comes to Home Depot, so it's once a month.
Wow.
So you know, it's very easy. I mean, you buy those vouchers, you call, make the appointment, tell them that you need it on the transport, and then you meet at Home Depot. It's at the crack of dawn, and you'll be there with a line of people, but it's worth it. And then you get there, and they are like a well-oiled machine. I mean, you drive up, you have your paperwork, they have your paperwork there ready, you've got your animal, they take it out, put it in the transport, and then they take it to Avondale and you pick it up the next day. So you can take your own. If you're worried about a dog or cat being in a transport, you can take your own dog or cat up there and just make a regular appointment with them. But that is their sole purpose, is to do that.
That is amazing. They've done this for several years, I guess, and they know how to make it work.
I can't even imagine how many dogs and cats they fix there and what a difference it's made. You know, sometimes when you're driving around and you see all these dogs and cats everywhere, you can't imagine that anything's making a difference, but it has.
I'm still thinking back to the 200 that she picked up, that she got out of.
Yeah, there was around 200, I believe, that she got out of the Avondale Mill Village before we became an organization.
Yes, that's one person.
Since 2017, though, with this organization, there have been almost 10,000 dogs that have left Sylacauga to go to other rescues in other states. And that's a huge number. When it's a number I think people need to know, because we've got a big problem here. I mean, that's a lot.
It's still a problem,
it's
even
still a
though
problem.
with all of those dogs that have gone.
And so, you know, when you think about selling 6,600 vouchers or so and sending almost 10,000 dogs to rescue, you know, you would think we would have gotten a handle on it, but everything is in that spaying and neutering, because it's amazing how quickly it can get out of control and how you can have so many, too many puppies, too many kittens in an area, and it's hard to get a handle on it.
Gosh, I'm amazed. God bless those women who started that.
And
Mitzi,
Mitzi Martin does the cat portion of Feral Dogs, and I believe she's at 527 cats that she has through the TNR program. Those are feral cats that she's been able to trap and fix and release in the area as long as they have a food source. Not to mention the number of kittens that she's been able to find homes for them. They can't go on transports like the dogs, but the kittens themselves, you know, they cycle through pet sense usually. And right now I believe we have 50-something kittens in foster. It can get up to 70, 80 at times. And so that's also an amazing part of what this organization has done over the last many years. I mean, I believe Mitzi started the TNR program around 2019.
Goodness. Well, that's exciting. We're going to pause for a commercial break, and we'll come back and talk some more about fostering and transporting.
That'd be great.
Hope you'll join us.
A funeral service represents a family's final farewell to their loved ones. Knowing this, we go beyond what is expected to ensure the ceremony is beautiful and memorable, a truly fitting tribute to that special life. We invite you to visit us to meet our staff and tour our renovated facility, complete with a new dining area and catering services. We've been serving the people of this area for over 40 years, and we think that you'll be pleased to find that making lasting impressions remains our first priority. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Welcome back. I'm talking with Tara Douglas, and we're talking about Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill and Friends of the Sylacauga Animal Shelter. You were telling us about fostering dogs. I know what fostering children is. It's kind of the same thing, similar.
Yeah, similar. Yeah. And there are different options with fostering. Our biggest avenue for us to get dogs out of the area and to rescue is fostering puppies. And we have a network of fosters within the feral dog system. We're always needing more fosters, because when we get a call with people in need, and we always encourage people to let us know if you have a dog and you need to get it fixed and you can't afford it, let us know so we don't reach the point where we need fosters. If you have an oops litter and you need help with that, then we'll help you, and we'll help you get the mama dog fixed so this doesn't happen again. And you know, we have a great group of fosters. So we'll take the puppies, and with that, we're also somewhat limited with the types of puppies because we have to take puppies that we know our rescues will accept.
Okay.
And
yes, that
that's
makes
hard
sense.
for people to understand. We'll have people contact us, and maybe the puppies are a little older. They're cute, but if they're older, we can't do much about that because we've
Everybody
got to
wants
get
a little puppy.
And also, they've got to have 3 sets of shots before they can leave the state.
Okay.
And so that's at least a month, a minimum, that they need to go into foster. And if they're larger puppies, by the time they're done with all their shots, they can be too big for our rescues that we work with to find homes for them. And so we have to get them smaller. And then we have the additional issue where a lot of these rescues can't take pit bull looking puppies.
Right.
And that's upsetting to a lot of people. I have a pit bull at home that sleeps under the covers in our bed and sleeps with our cats, and she's a wonderful dog.
Yes.
But the perception is that there are problems, and so that can be an issue with some states where they can't accept pit bulls into the state, or they can't usually find homes as easily for them. So
they can't accept them because they're not going to be able to find a home for them.
and as much as that kills us, because all of us in rescue love pit bulls just as much as we love any other dogs, and you feel like they get a bad rap, that's still a problem for us. So when people call us and they have a litter of pit bull puppies, most of the time we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But the puppies enter the foster system,
Okay.
and that's where you have to be so protective of them. People think it's so exciting, or we're going to have puppies at our house. It is exciting, but you also have to separate them from your dogs. You
Right.
can't let them run around in your yard because the threat of parvo is so big that there's a possibility that they could get parvo and then they're not going to rescue at all. They could die, or it prolongs things and they can't go. So you have to really focus on protecting them and making sure that they can get to the rescue. And so it's not easy. It's a lot of cleanup. It's a lot of taking
But
care
it's
of them.
not for a year.
No,
I mean,
it's not. Like I said, usually it's around a few weeks to a month that you have the puppies there. And Feral Dogs Organization pays for everything. So you don't have to pay for a thing. No, you don't have to pay for food. You don't have to pay for supplies. They provide
They provide all of that?
everything you need is provided. So you don't have to, as long as you have the space and you have the love, then that's all you need, and the time. Then we just need people that are willing to do it. And then once they are ready to go, then sometimes if we have any vet issues, things like that, then we need volunteers that can transport them. So transport them to a vet visit. Maybe the foster family isn't able to do that. And the transport also is needed for shelter dogs, because that's part of what Feral Dogs does, is that we're willing to pay for vet visits for shelter dogs if it's needed.
Okay, yes.
And so, excuse me.
That's okay. I'm just amazed. Y'all have a well-oiled machine network here of people that do things, but you always need more help.
We
I'm
always
sure.
could use more help.
You do. That is great. And you have several people that have been doing this for years.
For quite a long time.
That's great. Wow. I'm amazed. Now, when you talk about rescues, that kind of explain exactly, that's where you have a dog has been feral, loose, you're trying to get it to someone, a family who can adopt it.
So these rescues are set up, they're usually foster-based rescues.
Okay.
So they'll have transports that will meet us here. They'll fly out on planes, they'll go out in vans, and they'll go to these rescues, usually in Florida. So the rescues in Florida are the ones that'll still take puppies from us. We don't have a lot of outlets for the bigger dogs from the shelter anymore. Now we used to.
There's some
That
of
was
them
just
fly out?
that was yesterday morning, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had 2 dogs that were with us that Addison Murphy actually found somewhere downtown that were mangy and they needed a home.
And they're taking a plane ride.
They are, and we were able to get 1 shelter dog and 1 other dog that was rescued from, she was dumped with 2 other puppies in a cemetery here in Sylacauga. So
That is amazing. I know it takes a lot of phone calls and emails, but you have people that you contact who will accept the dogs. I know.
Yes, and that's where we have a wonderful network of volunteers that know a lot of these rescues, and will get on the phone immediately, start sending messages, emails, showing them pictures. And the 2 main rescues in Florida are our outlet for puppies right now.
Okay.
But we don't, when we think back to 2017 and these 10,000 dogs that have left this area, we had years where we had 1,600 dogs that went to other rescues through Feral Dogs. Wow. But then we've got the last couple of years, it's slowed down quite a bit. And so, this year, I think we have 400 or 500 that have been able to leave. And it's not for lack of trying. It's not for
Right,
lack
yes,
of working
yes.
really hard. It's that, you know, part of the problem is that, you know, we've saturated the market with our Sylacauga dogs. And then it's also an issue because in 2020, when everyone was stuck at home with COVID, they thought, well, I'll get a dog. And then later on, when life got back to normal, they thought, I don't want a dog.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of dogs that have been surrendered in these other states that normally don't have a lot of dogs available. They all of a sudden had this flooding of dogs into the market. And so that affected us from here. We didn't have a place to send a lot of our dogs.
I know you'd love for some of them to stay here, to be adopted through the animal shelter, but that's too many dogs.
It's too many. I mean, it would be great if we had enough. And not everybody needs a dog.
Right,
and you know, we understand that, you know, and you know, that's just what it is. And most people have a reasonable number of dogs. And I forgot the statistic, but I think every person would have to have like 7 or 8 dogs if it fixed the problem around here. And nobody, no sane person wants to do that. This outside of rescue.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, that is amazing. Well, how can somebody sign up to foster or foster to adopt? I know there's an option.
So fostering to adopt is always an option, and that's through the shelter or feral dogs. If you see a dog or you've met a dog at the shelter, you've seen us post about something, we're fine if you ask, can we just keep the dog, see if it works with our other pets or our kids or, you know, whatever. Yeah. And then you can decide to adopt it after that. Okay. That's always available. But if you want to foster, you can contact us. I mean, the shelter allows fosters also. So you could call the shelter and tell them you're interested in fostering. You could contact feral dogs. You can message us on Facebook or the shelter on Facebook. You know, I always tell people, if you call the shelter, leave a message because they are busy. There are over 100 dogs there they're taking care of, not to mention the cats. And they aren't often sitting by the phone. So if you leave a message, they'll call you back. But you know, main situation with fostering with the kittens and the puppies is through feral dogs, and so you can just let us know.
Okay, all right. And now I follow both of those on Facebook, so I love to see the things that they're doing. Now talk about the Saturday morning, walking the dogs.
We are at the shelter every Saturday, and we've got such a great group of people that volunteer to walk dogs. I mean, we're there from 11 to 1 every Saturday, and you know, we encourage people to come out. I mean, even if you don't want to necessarily walk a dog, you can come out and pet dogs. You can come out and pet cats. I mean, there's so many things that you can do that's helpful. You know, we have been able to really get a lot of information out there about the dogs at the shelter because of our volunteers. Because, you know, oftentimes people will call and they want to know about the personality of the dog. And the shelter usually knows, but then we've got additional information from the walkers getting them out and explaining how they reacted around all of the extra people there, what they did with a walk or a jog. And we always need more people out there to help the animals, but also help us find homes for these animals.
It gets them out of the shelter and walking around. Are they good on a leash? Are they good with the other dogs? Good with kids?
And then that helps us also with rescues, because they, like I said, they have to be so particular about what dogs they take so that they know they can find them homes. And so then we can answer all their questions. They'll ask all those questions. How are they around kids? How are they on walks? What do they do with this and that? And we've got that information because we've been out there walking them. And it's a different world. It's really good to have all that support from the community, and we've got regular walkers. Terry Brooks with Feral Dogs, she had a great idea of trying to market getting the walkers out as a 2025 New Year resolution. Let's get fit and healthy and get out and walk the dogs. So you'll see some different graphics and things we'll have out about that. Jessica and Ashley Cunningham are two of our volunteers that do the most creative things and find wonderful events to go to, and they just do a great job marketing the dogs and cats, and then they will be able to get information about that out there.
It's good for the dogs and cats, but it looks like you all have a lot of fun.
We really do. It's good for the soul.
It's a lot of kids out there learning to volunteer and give their time. They want to do. That is amazing. Well, listen, we're going to pause for another commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Tara.
A funeral service represents a family's final farewell to their loved ones. Knowing this, we go beyond what is expected to ensure the ceremony is beautiful and memorable, a truly fitting tribute to that special life. We invite you to visit us to meet our staff and tour our renovated facility complete with a new dining area and catering services. We've been serving the people of this area for over 40 years, and we think that you'll be pleased to find that making lasting impressions remains our first priority. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Tara Douglas. We're talking about Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill in the Sylacauga Animal Shelter. You had a couple of people you wanted to mention, Meredith Dempsey, I know, and the things that she's done to help you, and Lynn Avery.
Meredith Dempsey owns For the Love of Dog, and that is an organization that she's in Alabaster, but she's actually moving to Wilsonville, and she boards and she also trains dogs. And she is so wonderful in that she'll take a Sylacauga Animal Shelter dog and she'll board them for $15 a night, so it's much reduced rate, and she will give us so much information. We were talking about all the information that we get from the dog walkers about the dogs. Well, imagine one going and living with a trainer. And then she can give you all kinds of information about how they react in every situation. And she is, she has a different group of people that she knows. So when she has those dogs there, she takes like professional looking photos of them, and she'll get the word out on Facebook. And every dog we've sent to her that are all dogs that we have almost given up hope for, that we think there's no way we're going to find them a home. Meredith has found them a home, and I think she's found homes for at least 9 or 10 dogs from the shelter. And it's one of those situations that always just warms our hearts, because we are just at our wits' end, thinking there's no way we're going to be able to help, and Meredith takes them and she finds a home for them. So, and a lot of that is with help through Lynn Avery also. We talked about Lynn. She's a local volunteer. And she has gotten all of the dogs at the shelter on Pet Finder. And so that's helpful. And she's one of the ones, and she and I work directly with Meredith. And she, we try to figure out which dog needs to go to Meredith next, which one would be a good fit for Meredith, one that we don't think we can find a local adoption, but Meredith knows people in the area beyond who we know. And Lynn has just been amazing with what she's been able to do.
Networking, it's wonderful.
It really is. So when you ask what people can do for us, it doesn't have to be fostering, it doesn't have to be money, it doesn't have to be dog walking. You can simply share a post on Facebook and it can change the world for us, because we can't get the word out. Everybody knows different people. And we can get dogs to other areas. Like I said, we have volunteers that are needed for transport. We have people that will drive dogs to all areas of the state. We have people that will drive dogs to other states. And so, if it's within our power and we can figure it out, we will get a dog to people if they want one of our dogs. We had somebody from Washington that contacted Lynn wanting one of our dogs, and we ended up, we figured it out, and it's going to be a little more expensive than she wanted, but we can figure it out. We can do what we can to get other dogs out of here. And again, we just have so many wonderful volunteers that help us with that.
Let's look at, I know we have some slides. Yes, tell us about these.
Now that was actually, we're talking about volunteering and community support. This was at the Fall Festival. And we have had just an outpouring of support from the community in general. I mean, Parks and Rec and the Chamber of Commerce, everybody is so welcoming to have us with dogs, available dogs at these events. And it's been very successful for us. We didn't have any adoptions at the Fall Festival, but we've had adoptions from Crazy Days, from Sunshine Saturday. Heritage South let us bring dogs to their holiday market that they had. And we didn't have an adoption there, but somebody saw the pictures on Facebook. Again, it was shared. Some random person person saw it and said, I'm going to go get that dog that was at Heritage South.
Wow.
And so, we have all these volunteers that come and help out at these events and, take care of the dogs, make sure they're safe, make sure the community's safe around the dogs. And then we are able to get the word out locally. And we've been really successful with that.
That's right. That's great. Well, before it's almost time. Oh, I'm sorry. There's another picture.
Oh, that's actually Lynn. So, and
look at that.
that's India that's sitting in her lap, who's at Meredith's right now.
Okay,
so
okay.
That's Lynn Averett, and the one that's been so crucial with Pet Finder and working directly with Meredith. And this was her foster, who had to go back to the shelter for a period of time, but now India is at Meredith's, and we are desperately trying to find a home for her because we do not want her to go back to that shelter. No. And then there's Jessica Cunningham. She's at an event. She and her sister Ashley that I talked about that do so many creative things for the shelter. They found a brewing company up in Birmingham, I forgot which one it was, that was having an event and asked us to bring dogs to the event. So Jessica and her boyfriend there and Ashley were able to get dogs there. And that's Layla. She was adopted or foster to adopt, but she came back to the shelter, not for anything she did. She just wasn't working out with the existing dog at the person's house. And so Layla's available still. She's a Great Dane, either a full Great Dane or Great Dane mix, but she's a sweet dog. And there's our wonderful Missy Turner that we talked about at Mutt Cuts, where you can get the vouchers, and she's with some fosters that she had that were actually leaving on a plane from the airport. So, we just have so many individuals in the community that are helping, and so much help like we have from the library with your giving tree.
We're doing our little part here. We have little dog and cat construction paper ornaments. You come and buy one for $1. We put it on our snowman tree, and you put your pet's name. The kids have had a good time with this, putting their pets' names on them and put them on there, and all the money goes to y'all. It's not a lot, but I know you. Every
bit helps. And we have so much community support from businesses too. Bourbon on Broadway raises money for us. Trailwares this holiday season. They allowed people to get 10% off if they brought in a donation for the shelter. So Nancy worked really hard to do that. DJ at Fed Up Shipping is always raising money, and I'm sure I'm not even thinking about a lot of people. There's so much support that we have, and we really appreciate it. The community's really come together, and we just appreciate all the help that we get. And
well, we appreciate all the time that all of you volunteer your time, right?
It's an all-volunteer organization, and every dime that we get goes toward the dogs and cats in this area. So we work really hard to provide and do what we can. And
we appreciate what you do, and our time is up, but please follow them on Facebook, Friends of the Sylacauga Animal Shelter.
Or Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill would be under that. And then
see what's going on. Thank you, Tara, for joining me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us on Library Connection.